Hey Steve, Tyson from Subaru, Prince George here. I figured I'd make you kind of a comparison video between the Crosstrek, the Forester, and the Outback, because I know those were kind of the three you were comparing. So this is the Crosstrek. Now, I just happened to grab one that I knew was close, so this is an entry level. The sizing is all the same. This is the same size as our Impreza hatchback car, just lifted. It's the same ground clearance as the Forester and the Outback. So in the back, it's a decent amount of storage. It's more than lots of people think there's gonna be, but it's not cavernous by any means. The second row, if you're carrying passengers, is fairly roomy, especially for its size. So I'm 6'2", and I've got, I don't know, a fist between my knee and the seats. Granted, that seat's not all the way back, but there is room for 3 people across here. 3 people might be squishy, but fitting 4 in here, not a problem. My head's not even touching the roof. My hair's just grazing it. So it's not like I have to sit with my head bent, with my neck turned sideways or anything. Up front, depending on the model you go with and features, entry level and middle of the road manual height adjustment seat. When I hop in, actually, this is how I'd sit. So even for a taller person, there's lots of room behind this seat for someone. So cruise control, Bluetooth, AC, that's all standard stuff now. We also have adaptive cruise and lane centering assist. That's new for 2020. So we've got these 2 stereo cameras that do your automatic braking, that kind of stuff. That automatically saves you 10% off the top on insurance in BC. Little information screen up there. Radio screen. It's also a backup camera. Backup cameras are standard in every vehicle in Subaru's lineup. Shows you the top of your bumper there. Climate controls are here. Automatic transmission. Crosstrek is available in a manual should you want that. Now, I have a Crosstrek. I quite like my Crosstrek. It drives like a car, which is quite refreshing for me. So these are also Crosstreks, just different trim levels. As you can see, like that's an Outback right there, Steve, versus a Crosstrek. The Crosstrek is substantially smaller. The Crosstrek is essentially a baby Outback. I also have a Forester. So this red one here, this is a touring. This is a middle of the road. Like I said, I just grabbed 3 that were fairly close together. So big difference, size. That's boxier, a little longer, definitely taller, much more headroom in this. So couple other nice features. You got a power lift gate, you just hit the button, up it comes. And that's on this model and up. The others don't have power gates below it, but way more storage. Like, it's a way wider opening, it's taller, it's deeper. It's more storage. So if you're carrying a lot of people and a lot of cargo, the Forester does have lots of room. Just grab this handle. Unlock this. In the second row, there's a ton of room, way more headroom. Not that that was an issue for me in the Crosstrek, but again, just over a fist full of room between my knees and the front of the seat, or the back of the seat ahead of me. And like it's quite roomy. Like, there's a ton of headroom in this. Like, again, my hair is just grazing. You sit higher in the Forester, more upright, and the back seats are raised, so I'm looking over the headrest, not directly into it. Get things like USB ports in the second row, vents. Seats are slightly different, more upright. Like, you can even see it sits slightly higher off the ground than the Crosstrek one does. This one happens to be push button. But again, steering wheel, pretty much the same controls, your adaptive cruise, your Bluetooth, audio controls. Higher end you go, get a few more features. Nice little screen. Dual zone climate control, so you and your passenger can both have separate temperatures, ranging from 15 on the low side, all the way up to 32, 30 I think? Yeah, 30. So from freezing to tropical. Screens are about the same size until you go into some higher end models and you get into the 8-inch displays. Still the backup camera. In the Forester, you can actually clean the backup camera from the inside. You just twist the knob for the back window and it drains right over it. dash looks a little different, or the center console looks a little different, and the Forester's only available in an automatic transmission. And then the third one that I have is this green Outback. So this Outback is also a touring. It's a middle of the road. So it's longer than the Forester, but it's 5 inches shorter in height. So you'll sit more like the Crosstrek in this, but you have more comparable storage to the Forester. Still the same ground clearance, doesn't look as tall, and that's just because it's a slightly longer body. But the back has more width than the Forester, or the same amount of width as the Forester, less height, but more depth. So it depends what you're carrying, and they all get comparable fuel economies. I find that I don't personally have quite as much room in the second row, but it really depends how you're sitting, how you're built, how the driver sits. Like this front seat ahead of me is pretty darn far back, and I've got a couple finger lengths. But I also sit a little higher. You can see kind of the headroom there, a little bit different than sitting in the Forester or the Crosstrek. USB ports in this. This is a touring as well, so kind of your middle of the road. And then you get things like tie downs built into the roof rack, and the Outback comes with crossbars built in. Don't worry, they're rubber feet on the bottom so you don't scratch the paint. And you flip it across, the other one comes across. So if you need to carry a toolie or anything, or plywood skis, you can just attach them there. Very, very easy to use. That's actually one of my favorite parts of the Outback. Power windows, locks, mirrors, power driver's seat in every Outback, even the entry-level models. And I do sit more like a car in this. The steering wheel, again, your adaptive cruise, your lane keep, Bluetooth audio controls. Big difference on the inside, 11.6 inches of touchscreen goodness. So this is new for 2020. Everything is controlled through the touchscreen. So you touch it, away you go. Takes a second when it first turns on, but it's really easy to use. It's not clunky, it's easy to go through. And only the top portion of the screen is your backup camera when you put it in reverse. Backup sensors going off. Storage for phone, 2 USB ports there. The mirror is auto dimming in the touring, so if some jerk has his high beams on behind you, there's no switch to flick, it automatically does that. And of course your 2 eyesight cameras. So that's kind of a 3-way comparison between the Crosstrek, Forester, and Outback. I hope that kind of gives you an insight into the different sizes and what you and your family will need, Steve. Give me a shout. Let me know if you have any questions about either. I'm more than happy to get you more info on any of the vehicles or multiple vehicles. I'll talk to you soon.